okay, so this is by far the weirdest pastoral disqualification I've ever seen. We've seen pastors tragically cheat on their wives. We see pastors mismanage finances. We see pastors step down for stuff we don't know about.
Yeah.
We've seen pastors, out of an abundance of caution, have an inappropriate conversation with adult language and take a break, go to the elders, confess preemptively. We've also seen people cover stuff up, tragically, with the Dr. Michael Brown situation, Mike Bickle. Not cool. This is one of these situations where like there was a kind of a denial of what was alleged, and then finally they got caught, and then they stepped down right away. So this is Josh Buice. This is Josh Buice. He resigns as a president of G3 Ministries. G3 Ministries is the biggest Reformed summit or conference type thing. And now this is on the front page of USA Today. Okay, and this is so, I've just never heard of anything like this. This is why, how do I say this? This is why I think more pastors need a podcast where they can have a healthy outlet to talk about things without deviating into this. Because I think what ended up happening here is a perversion to be able to speak frankly on certain things. Okay, maybe my take is bad on
being
this.
able to disagree a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if my take is bad. Okay, we'll see if my take is bad. Pastor removed over fake social media accounts used to slam other ministers. This dude had burner accounts, multiple burner accounts.
Stop it.
Where he would publicly slam the very same people he would have at his conference.
Darkness.
That's crazy.
Something's off,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, G3 is a massive reform conference, right? Christian preacher and author who founded one of the largest evangelical conferences in the United States has been removed from his leadership role at a Georgia church after elders said he used fake social media accounts to slander other ministers online. He also resigned as president of G3 Ministries, a nonprofit ministry based in Metro Atlanta. Props to him for resigning. Dr. Josh Buice was placed on indefinite leave at Prairie Hills Baptist Church in Douglasville last week and stepped down as G3's president. The nonprofit organization announced May 12th. The church is located on Atlanta's west side, about 30 miles from downtown. In an online statement released by G3, its board members wrote Buice, who founded a nonprofit in 2010, admitted to concealing his identity by operating at least 4 anonymous social media accounts, 2 anonymous email addresses, and 2 Substack platforms over the past 3 years to defame other ministries. Now,
wow.
I can understand burner accounts, but did they say 4 burner accounts?
4 burner accounts.
4 different social media burner accounts, 2 Substacks, which is it's not easy to have a Substack. You got to write, you got to be prolific. Now, if I'm sounding excited, I'm not gleeful over this. I'm not gleeful over any single dude that has to step down from ministry. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's something I'm rejoicing in. I'm not in this circle like that. I'm more astonished that this is even a thing.
Yeah.
Like, how is this even a thing that someone can have multiple identities online and engage in this sort of stuff?
It feels like a mental health issue a little bit.
Perhaps.
You know, something going on there.
Perhaps.
Some unresolved church hurt.
Someone pointed out, Kelly P., our very own moderator, said, did Mark Driscoll do something similar? Mark Driscoll he did have a burner account on message board forums as Braveheart.
Okay.
William Wallace, he had this name on multiple message boards, and he would be roasting people and talking crazy about people.
And he was renowned for like William Wallace message board was known for.
No, not the message board. That was his name.
I'm saying like the guy on the message board was known for saying crazy things, funny things, calling people out.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess Mark Driscoll kind of did the same thing. In recent weeks, the statement reads, the elders uncovered irrefutable evidence. He probably had like a laptop open and they saw the multiple Gmails or something, used the accounts to publicly and anonymously slander numerous Christian leaders, including faithful pastors, some who previously spoke at his own conferences, as well as several elders at the Reformed Baptist Church he pastored at. These actions were not only sinful in nature, but deeply divisive, causing unnecessary suspicion and strife within the body of Christ, and particularly within the eldership of PMBC. The board did not elaborate on the content. Now, I'm not going to get into what he was saying, but there's videos made about it. They've tracked down some of these burner accounts, and he's just talking crap. Like, he's like, oh, this dude used the G3 conference to bolster his platform, and now he's hanging out with Doug Wilson. I think he said that about Vodi Wacom, and Doug Wilson's an enemy of G3, and just like really shallow, petty stuff.
Wow.
Really shallow, petty stuff. So they reached out to him. Of course, he didn't respond. Pastor Josh Buice, a reportedly outspoken SBC critic, a Reformed Baptist and reportedly outspoken critic of Southern Baptist Conference leader. Southern Baptist is like the more mainline. It's one of the biggest denominations out there, or it's not a denomination, it's an affiliation. Over issues of race and social justice. Initially denied he created the accounts to the board, according to statements. But he has later confessed a public and egregious sin. We believe Josh Buice has stained the mission and character of G3 Ministries. And props to these guys. They canceled the conference.
They canceled the conference.
Yeah, they canceled the conference.
Is he pretty high up there? He's like
I mean, this is one of, if not the biggest Reform conference. He started the ministry. They canceled it.
Wow.
Yeah. We believe Josh Buice has stained the mission and character of G3. After further consideration and godly counsel, we have made the decision to remove all of Josh Buice's content from every platform. From our funding, G3's purpose has been to educate, encourage, and equip local churches with sound biblical theology. With sadness, yet in light of the recent events, we do not believe Josh's content will help fulfill the purpose any longer. On May 14th, the nonprofit still had Buice listed on its X accounts. He took all of his social media down, so apparently he's still listed on some of these accounts. And so this is kind of just going over, Calvinist, anti-woke, anti-racist, Calvinist, gospel stuff. And again, the G3 conference is 700, how many people? Annual event grew from 750 to 6,500 people.
Wow.
This is a massive, massive conference.
Yeah.
They canceled the conference, so props to them. I respectfully request that Pray Mills leaders release each of the anonymous account names, which Josh Buice used to repeatedly and publicly slander the church. It would serve as a gesture of honesty and transparency. I think they probably should do that, especially for the local church. If he's slandering fellow pastors or elders at his own church, he probably should do that. Please be patient. So you can be transparent. So people can track down this. Okay, so here's my thought, and I want to know what you think about it.
Okay.
How do I say this? There's so much. Okay, how do I say this? Sometimes my frustration with people who are public profile people is that they will be very careful and delicate in front of the cameras with what they will and won't talk about, what they will and won't engage, but then talk even more flippantly about stuff behind the scenes in green rooms around other people. And to me, there's a degree of incongruence there where you're not willing to have regular conversations publicly.
Yes.
Meaning I don't talk differently than I do on this stream.
Very true.
This is, I think, one of the reasons why what we do works, because we're willing to have the conversations that most people are having behind the scenes. We just have them in front of the cameras.
Come on.
At the detriment of relationships, at the detriment of looks, at the detriment of being invited to certain conferences, at the detriment of fill in the blank. In my opinion, I think more pastors need to be able to have frank conversations instead of suppressing this sort of stuff. And then you're slandering and crossing the line and perverting this desire to be frank with people.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm right. Like, I'm not sure if that's a good thing. I'm not sure if I'm right on this.
Yeah. That like they should just be more open and honest,
yes.
even if they kind of ruin relationships a little bit.
If you have issues with people, if you have issues with ministries, even if they're there in your own camp, you should be willing to frankly speak about these things and not be delicate and walk on eggshells and look the other way when it's people in your own camp or whatever. I'm not saying that's necessarily what he was doing.
Yeah.
But there's a suppression that happens, and then you wild out online like this.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree. Although I do think it's probably the more practical scenario would be people doing the same thing just behind closed doors. Like they go to the conferences and they're friendly with all the other pastors. Behind closed doors are like, man, these guys are cringe. The guy that makes 4 burner accounts, he's got something going on. Something at home.
Probably, yeah, there's probably more going on for sure. I'm saying, this is what I'm saying. I'm saying don't do it behind closed doors.
I agree.
I'm saying don't say anything about somebody privately that you wouldn't say publicly.
Come on, somebody.
Right? Unless it's
a really good joke.
Unless there's like victims involved and people need to be protected. Like right. But if you like Mike Todd's mustard shirt
Mustard.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about that in a group text and then be buddy with the dude.
Yeah.
Now, I'm also not mad at the dude. I'm not going to roast him, but I think there's a degree of like being consistent. And I'm not saying this is everybody, but there are a lot of people that will, again, I'm not talking about anybody in particular, that will pull up, get the bag, get the cosign, get the stamp, get the clout, and then say something about a public Christian. I just feel like that's weird. And if that's not happening in private, if you're trying to be above and beyond to not do that in private, but you feel this way and you don't have any outlets, I think this is what could kind of lead to this sort of behavior. Now, again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I go too far, right? Maybe I'm too flippant.
I wouldn't say you're too flippant. I would say you're pretty restrained. You know,
Yeah.
I think people want us to call out people more than we do. You know, Ruslan, you didn't actually. You got to stand up for what the scriptures say. Call him out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're totally right. I think,
Now, Kelly P made a great point. Shout out to Kelly P. She said, how many pastors, regardless of denomination, are given a safe space to be themselves? That's a great question. Or how many pastors go to therapy? Like, if you have issues with people and you're not sure if it's you or them, you're not sure if it's you're the one offended because of your ego or if it's them doing something that's crossing certain lines, you need to work that out with a therapist.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Before I've ever spoken about anybody publicly, I've always reached out privately, generally speaking, unless it's like a Benny Hinn or Kenneth Copeland, which like those dudes probably, like I'd be surprised if they knew how to use their email.
Yeah.
You know, or even if they even do email themselves.
It's also why we have the new series, Mega Church Shenanigans, but we can only say nice things.
We can only say nice things. Yeah, I like to spend a weekend with you and hang out. Yeah, and that's the naive nature of that is like as if a Benny Hinn or Kenneth Copeland or Bill Johnson would actually have a conversation with me.
Yeah.
They're not sitting down with me. They're not doing a podcast with me. And again, I've reached out to Stephen Furtick. I don't really speak much on him anymore. I've reached out to Mike Todd multiple times. Mike Todd, I have reached out through mutual friends.
Uh-oh.
And he's been like, nah. You know?
Why?
What does it benefit him to sit down with me? You know?
Yeah.
So I think like, I just think we need more congruence personally. And I think a lot of pastors don't have healthy outlets and therefore can kind of get into these weird places. And I personally I'm just speaking for me. I'm not saying this is a standard. I'm saying if you're going to say something privately about somebody, be willing to say publicly about someone. Or you shouldn't say it privately.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have a group text where you're roasting people that you would never dare say anything to their face.
Come on,
like that's
somebody.
mad cringe to me.
Come on.
That's very, to me, that's cowardly.
Yeah.
Like you're roasting people, you're talking about people behind their back, but you're not willing to have the conversation with them.
That's gossip.
Oh, for sure.
That's real gossip.
Yeah. I mean, this is takes it to a whole nother level. This is like you got no one to gossip with, so you go to the internet. That's where you're probably like, there's probably something else going on here. So anyway, hey, thank you so much for checking out the video. Please be sure to comment below and subscribe and all that good stuff. And check out this other video that YouTube seems to be recommending just for you. Let me know if they nailed it. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.